everybody. Let's go ahead and get in our seats and get ready to start this town hall. I am so excited to see so many of your beautiful faces. For those who don't know, I've been gone the last 40 days. Yeah. I did a reset. You know, I had to recharge. You know when you power down and then you power back up. So my name is Brandy Vega. I'm the founder of Promise2Live, and we had a really good treat for you guys today. Did you love the music? I want to thank them, you guys. They offered to do this. It's Trio Fratelli, and they volunteered their time for us today to just kind of bring that beautiful feeling and emotion. So it's a trio of brothers, and you know, they're available if you guys have events and are looking for people. Please keep them in mind. We sure love our friends who sponsor and help us out. Yes. We have a special announcement, apparently.
Someone lost their keys in the parking lot.
Okay. Yeah, right. Okay, so thank you again. I hope everybody got food. We had food here today, and I really want to just take a moment before we kind of get going, and I want to thank Mac McGee. Mac, where are you? Where'd you go? He took a break. All right, well, we want to thank Mac. He's sponsored this event today. He's made the lunch possible. And we couldn't do all this without our friends and our supporters who help along the way. So please give Mac a round of applause for that. Also, I want to thank Silicon Slopes, who's been our partner. We've done these for 2 years now. Every third Thursday for 2 years. So thank you to Silicon Slopes. And just so you know, these are planned every third Thursday of next year, same place. So we hope that you guys will keep coming, and we've got some really incredible things. We also want to thank our partners at Channel 2. We've partnered with Channel 2, Mark Cobell and the entire team there. They're supporting Promise2Live. So can we give Channel 2 a round of applause? Again, this work is exceptionally critical, and we have quite this show for you today. Today is about grief and loss, and it's life after loss, and we're going to have a couple of speakers coming up, but I'm so grateful that we can do this. And I just came back from my 40-day trip, 32-day cruise, and I just want to tell you that I believe in miracles. Anyone else believe in miracles? Oh, yeah, I did 32 days on a cruise ship, and I lost 1 pound. It's a miracle. I'm just saying, I was starting a blog called How to Gain 30 Pounds in 30 Days, and it turns out my dogs at my mom's house are the ones that gained the weight. So I'm really thankful for that, and I'm thankful for everybody here. So our speakers today, we have Dr. Okay, he's walking in right now. We're going to appreciate him. Mac, thank you for sponsoring this event. And he also, you guys, he drove all the way from St. George to be here, and that just means the world to me. Thank you very much. I know you guys are all busy professionals, amazing people in the community, so the fact that you take your time to come spend with us means a lot. This is very, very important work. How many of you are here for the first time? Okay, I love that. Let me give you just a real quick Promise2Live. I started it. I almost lost my daughter to suicide. We made a promise to God. If he saved her, we'd do the work. Now we ask everyone everywhere. So since there's a lot of new people here, we're going to do this, okay? I want everyone in this room right now in a safe place to make a promise that if you find yourself in that hard, dark, difficult place, that you will reach out for help. Friend, family member, resource, or 988. Can you guys look me in the eye and make that promise? Can you say, I promise? I promise. I didn't hear you in the corner. You promise, you promise, you promise. This is so important. Studies show that people who make a promise ahead of time are up to 60% more likely to keep it when it counts. We love you. We need you. The world's better with you in it. If you haven't gotten a pocket hug, you need to get one. It's a reminder of the promise you just made, and it's a reminder that you're loved, that we need you. The world's better with you in it. And so our 3 pillars are commitment. You just made that commitment. And you know what? Recommit every time, every day. Connect to the resources. We have them online. We have amazing partners, and we want to partner with more of you. So if you see a fit, let's work together. So we have our partners online, connecting you to resources. And that's what we're going to talk about today as well. And then we have community. And it's about building a community. We're all in this together. Silicon Slopes does a great job of doing that. So I'm just super thankful for that. I'll go ahead and get started. Today's topic is about grief and loss. And there's more to loss than just...
Brandy, can we just interrupt you for a second?
Sure. When Mark Cobell wants to talk, you give him the mic. Here you go, sir. You guys all recognize him. He's been a face that we could trust for years and years.
Yeah, I have some suicide in my family that I deal with, so I appreciate all the work that Brandy does and the folks here at Silicon Slopes and all you people showing up for an event like this. Appreciate it so much. My dear friend May Bradley, with lost loved ones, suicide survivors. I sit with May on that board and help her out with her fundraising. They do postvention where they help you after somebody you love has suicide. So anyway, wanted to thank you for having us today. I had an amazing time talking to these two amazing women today. I want to thank you for the interviews. The story is going to run Saturday. But I also have Charlene Wells with Mountain America Credit Union here today, and she wanted to help you out with a little something.
Thank you so much, Mark. I love to surprise Brandy. Brandy, you quite literally save lives every day with this program, Promise to Live. So on behalf of Mountain America and our friends at KUTV, we just want to give you a pay-it-forward donation to keep you going strong. Now you can continue your speech.
Oh, she's making me cry before we start.
Thank you.
Charlene, Mountain America. Mountain America has been just incredible, and we sure appreciate your support. And they support so many great causes in the community, so thank you again for that. Thank you. We do a lot with the little, and we ran some numbers. I just want you guys to know that for about 8 cents per reach, we're reaching people where some of our competitors, you know, this isn't about that, but they're at over $60 per reach. Promise to Live, we're reaching people at 8 cents per reach. So you want to support? Please. I'm so thankful for that. But as we were thinking about grief and loss, you know, we think about there's a lot of people who've lost loved ones to suicide, to strokes, to cancer. There's a lot that goes into it. But for me, as I sat there and thought about it, what kept coming up is, you know, this was formed out of loss. This was formed out of me nearly losing my daughter. But the biggest grief and loss for me happened about 23 years ago. I graduated high school early. I joined the Army. I was a broadcast journalist. I worked in TV news. I was reporting for Fox News when I was just 20 years old. And I got to interview the President of the United States. I was doing a bunch of cool things, worked at Channel 4, worked at the VA. I did all this great media stuff. And I had moved back here, and I had interviewed with a news company in New York at News 1. And I was getting deployed to the Balkans. So I was going to Kosovo, and I had planned after this trip, I had went to Washington, D.C., the Pentagon, New York. I'd met with a company, and they said, we want to hire you. And so I was going to be the next, my dream, Katie Couric, Jane Clayson. My dream was to be on TV and share stories. It was going to happen right after my deployment to the Balkans, where I was on a peacekeeping mission. But when I got there, the first thing that they tried to do was, before I even landed, they tried to kill me. We were flying in, and they started trying to shoot down our C-130. And that just really was eye-opening. I see people there, you know, we're fighting at terrorists. And then, you know, finally get into the country, realize that life's not always what you think it is, and it was scary. We went on border patrols. I got shot out on a border patrol. And then I happened to be there September 11th when I watched our towers come crashing down from Kosovo. And we went on lockdown, and I went on NATO missions, and I had just done a thing with the President of the United States. And I had to do a special mission at KFOR in Macedonia. And as we were flying in our Black Hawk, we almost got shot down. And what makes this story even more incredible, and this is something I don't think I've ever shared publicly, so You're welcome, and I'm sorry. I was pregnant. I had made some choices during my deployment that didn't align with who I was or my values because I was in a hard situation. And I ended up getting pregnant as a single 23-year-old and almost got shot down. And instead of coming back and going to work in New York, living my dream, I was married with 2 kids in 6 months. So I came back. Now I'm living in Tennessee. I just had a baby. I got married, and he had a son, and my whole dream was shot. I mean, I love my daughter. But I had dreams. I was going to go do this, and it was everything I ever wanted. And with one decision, it changed everything for me. And I'm telling you, the depression that I felt, maybe a series of postpartum, being away from my family, being away from my friends, being away from my career, mourning the loss of the life I thought I was going to have, it was horrible. It was really, really hard for me. And I had to find ways to make it back. And my life did not turn out at all anything like I thought it would. But I think it turned out better. I really do. And I'm thankful for that because I know I wouldn't be standing here. I know I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't have had the opportunities. And I think sometimes when we talk about grief and loss, it's okay to mourn your identity, your career, your ideas, what you thought your children would be, what you thought your marriage would be. I mourned when I got divorced and knew I wouldn't have more kids. But then I wouldn't have been able to adopt my son through foster care or be a surrogate for someone else. I'm just saying that sometimes grief and loss can be seen in this way, and I want you all to know that I see you in that, and it's okay to mourn that, and we need these tips and tricks and tools and community just as well for all those losses that we experience. Finally, one of my best friends, you know, she was all excited. She saved up. She was doing a trip to New York, and she was so excited. She was going to the Statue of Liberty, to Broadway. She had everything planned out, super pumped. Well, then she makes all the plans, and she's got all these appointments. She wakes up in the morning. Her alarm never went off, and she's all upset. Oh, my gosh, I had this tour set up. I missed my alarm, and she's bummed out. And as she's getting ready, she turns on the TV in her hotel, and she watches the Twin Tower come down where she was supposed to be at that moment. That was her tour. Sometimes things happen to us that we can see in real time and realize that we've been protected. Sometimes we never see that figurative tower collapse in our life, but we feel it. And so I just hope that you guys know that no matter what it is you've gone through, there's help, there's hope. Sometimes you've been protected. And as we often talk about, you can let life make you bitter or better. And I think that we can look at things and say, not why did this happen to me? Why did this happen for me? If I hadn't been through my experience almost 5 years ago, we would not be here today. And I can tell you, we're saving lives and we're making a difference. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being a part of this. We have some super exciting things, so stick around to the end that we want to share. We've got huge events next year. We're doing Unplug and Hug every month. We're doing these town halls every month. We're opening 25 chapters across the country. We're pretty excited. We're pretty excited. We're doing 1 million hugs for hope, and we need you guys. And in January, we're doing a huge safe tech Promise2Live event with AI, chat GPT, sextortion. This is going to be a huge community event. We need you guys there because we're losing a lot of people in that. So thank you for supporting us. Thank you for being here. The order this is going to go is we're going to have Dr. Morgan come on up, and he's going to talk to you. And then we're going to go with Chantel, Stacy, and May, and they'll be sharing information. We'll wrap up around 1:30. Thank you so much.
Hello, welcome. I'd like to welcome you on behalf of Silicon Slopes to this Promise2Live Town Hall. We love Brandy, we love the work that she's doing, and we're just very excited to partner with her. on this. Let's see. That's not it? Is that it? No. There we go. Okay. Getting through all Brandy's slides. Okay. I am Dr. David Morgan. I'm a licensed psychologist and the Director of Mental Health Awareness here at Silicon Slopes. And today we're talking about grief, as Brandy already introduced. I don't have a lot of great stories like Brandy do. I have stories from other people's lives, not from my own life. So I'm going to tell you a story from Mr. Rogers' life first. Anyone seen the, is it called, it's the one that's the not the biography, not the Tom Hanks one, but the other one. What's it called? Won't You Be My Neighbor? Have you seen that? Who's seen that? If you haven't, go home and watch it right now. It is so good. Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers, is probably one of the best human beings on the planet. We watched this with my adult children, and my oldest son, when we were done, he said, "We are horrible people." He said this, just after seeing how Fred Rogers lived his life. And so this is a quote from him. He says, "When I was a boy and would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, 'Look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping.'" And so when I was doing research for today's presentation on grief, I found that it's the people that help that can be the most important. And so there's going to be different groups of people in here. You're going to find yourself in one of two groups. You're either going to find yourself in the group that is currently grieving something, or you're going to find yourself in the group that can help someone who is grieving something. So every single person in this room is going to be a part of one of those two groups. I'm going to talk to the second group about the people that can help. Like Mr. Rogers said, look for the people who are helping. One of the things that Promise to Live is it supports suicide awareness and prevention, is that the most consistent protective factor found in suicide research is social support and connectedness. It's one of the most critical things in preventing suicide, is having that connection of social support. When I was doing my research, I found this as well, that studies also show that social support is one of the strongest predictors of healing through grief. Having someone there to support you through the process is so important. And my guess is, if we talked about those, like who's going through grief, don't raise your hand, and who knows someone who's going through grief, there's going to be a lot more people in the room in that second group. Fortunately, grief doesn't touch us all at once, and there's only certain times in our life sometimes that it happens, but chances are you know someone who is going through that already. So we're going to talk about what you can do in those situations. So research on grief consistently shows that having emotionally available people helps with the following: reducing isolation, regulating emotions, and feeling validated and making meaning of loss. Emotionally available people. I want you to think about what that means as you find yourself, if you find yourself in that second group. What does that mean to you to be emotionally available to someone else? One of the trickiest things in any relationship is emotional intimacy. Generally speaking, as a society, we're terrible at it. We have a hard time getting close to people. We have a hard time opening up, letting down our guard, most of the time because we've been hurt ourselves, and so we're worried about that. And I'm not saying to take off your suit armor everywhere you go and put down your shield, every time you meet someone, but there are relationships in your life right now where you could probably drop your guard just a little bit, and you could probably deepen that emotional connection with someone because you know that person. It's safe. You know they're not likely to attack you emotionally. And deepening those relationships is so critical. And there could be a day when that person is in need of your assistance, and having that deeply rooted emotional support is very, very important. And it helps with these things that are very, very critical as people are processing grief. One of the things that's very important to remember is the type of support. It matters. Non-judgmental listening and presence are more effective than advice giving or attempts to fix feelings. Generally speaking, in the decades I practiced as a psychologist, when I find people who want to fix things, it's more about them than it is about the other person. They want the other person to feel better so they can feel better, because they don't like the distress of someone else being in distress. And I get that. I don't like it. Who has children? Yeah, and they're in distress all the time, right? And the first thing you want to do is just go make it better. And you want them to stop feeling that way. But lots of times it's because, for me, it was because I didn't want to feel that way. As a father, I did not want to feel that way. But I had to realize it's important for people to be able to go through the things they're going through. And that path they walk can be very instructive over time. So it's okay to let them sit with it, and it's okay just to be there. And when I thought of this, my mind is just full of pop culture all the time, and this is what I thought of if you've seen the movie Forrest Gump. And it's one of the most poignant scenes in the entire movie. This is when, oh my heavens, why can't I remember her? Jenny, thank you, Jenny, right? When Jenny goes back to her childhood home years and years later, and it's not articulated completely, but there's intimations that she was abused as a child. She starts throwing rocks at the house, right? She starts throwing rocks, and then he just collapses and starts crying. And Forrest, of course, not able to really talk about it, not that way. He just goes and sits next to her. And I love that. He just says, while you're sitting here, I'll just sit next to you. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't try to help her process her trauma. He just says, I'm just going to be here with you. And I love that. And I think that's what people need most often, most of the time, when they're going through grief, is just for you to be there with them. They may have questions, and if they do, you can try to answer their questions. But you shouldn't be the one to open the questions. You shouldn't be the one to say, well, what can I do? Well, sometimes just sit there and sit with them. That's what I said, just be there. Okay? Be there, be emotionally available, put down your shield, put down your sword. It's okay. With those people that you really love and trust, it's okay to deepen that relationship, and you can really be the means of great healing for them. That's all I have. I'll promote our podcast we do here at Silicon Slopes. One of the podcasts that we do, rather. It's called Mental Health Momentum. I'm the host of that. There's several people in here who have been on it, and Brandy's one of them. And it's a great opportunity. We talk about mental health in the workplace and beyond, and look for solutions as well. Thank you so much for coming today. We're looking so much forward to these great speakers, and we'll turn the time to them.
Also, you guys, just so you're aware, Dr. Morgan is licensed. He's going to be in the back. If at any time today any of you guys want to step out, he's here for you to support you. So feel free, if you need help, to go ahead and do that. So we appreciate that. I'm going the wrong way. Let me put this up. Yep, there we go. Okay. Let's do this one. Okay, we're going to stop here. So Chantel McBride, she's the happy chaplain. Many of you have probably seen her. I'm going to let these guys explain a little bit more as they speak, but I just want you to know who they are. So she's a dear friend of mine. She's a chaplain. She's an angel. They're all angels. And then we have Stacy Douglas, who's with the Taylor Hagen Memorial Foundation, and she lost her nephew to suicide. They do wonderful things. And then we have Mae Bradley with the L.O.S. Center. So just so you guys know that, we will turn the time over to them now. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is not my favorite thing to do. I appreciate what Dr. Morgan, your presentation was beautiful. It's what a chaplain does. So 14 years ago, I had 9 friends and family members pass within 3 months. And it was devastating, to say the least. We were coming off a year of losing 5 of friends and family. And so we were already devastated. And then March hit, and every weekend the phone would ring, and it was something different had happened. Someone else had passed, and we had funerals to go to. And it was devastating. It was like a war zone. And I came out of that and left with, okay, what do I do now? I had a long-time career at Nordstrom. I had worked there for like 28 years and was just going to die there. Everyone would tease me about it. They're like, we're going to find you in the dressing room dead. And I'm like, that's fine. Just make sure I look good. And so I thought, I can't go back to that job. It was just meaningless to me. And so I didn't know what it was I was going to do. Came along the path of many speakers and authors out there, and I thought, okay, that's what I want to do. I was convinced that, okay, you need to be a speaker and author and do all these things and do trainings. And so I started doing that. I actually got picked to be a wild card. I'm a TEDx speaker, and that was not me at all, but I did it. The lesson from that is just to show up. But I was actually at a church function, and I love to reenact this. So everybody, this gal came around the corner and she said, will you say the prayer? And I never talked to anybody or talked in front of anyone for years and years and years. And so I never made what? Eye contact. Because when you make eye contact, you get called on. So I was really good at not making eye contact. And my husband was in on it, my friends, they all knew if someone looked at me that they would jump in and say, oh, I'll read that or I'll do that. And so one night, I was at a church function, there was like 75 people there, and this lady caught me, and she said, will you say the prayer? And I was deer in the headlights, and I'm looking around, and people are looking at me thinking, okay, yeah, are you going to say the prayer? And I'm like, yeah, I'll say it. And so I got up there, so everyone fold your arms, bow your heads, close your eyes. I'm looking around, no one's looking, and I ran. I'm out of there. So I'm running past the beveled window, and I can see everyone in there, and I'm thinking, I am running. Like, oh, my gosh, this is the worst thing ever. I got home, pulled into my garage like a maniac. You don't even know this story. I don't tell it a lot. I came into the I came running into the garage, and my husband came running out because he could tell something was wrong. He's like, oh, my gosh, what happened? I was bawling. I was hysterical, having full-on panic attack. And he's like, sit down. You know, he's like, did you rob a bank? Did you kill someone? Like, what has happened? I just kept saying, the prayer, the prayer. And he's like, the prayer. And I told him what happened, and I'll never forget that look. And he just looked at me like, wow, like, this is really bad. Like, you are in a bad place. You can't even say a prayer now. And so that started kind of my journey. I was actually on my way to Vegas, and after losing all these friends and family members, one of the gals in the front of the car said, you should become a chaplain, because everyone was coming to me for grief support. And I was just trying to swim myself. I didn't know, how I was going to support anybody, let alone just get out of my own woes. And my husband lost his business. We ended up losing our homes, our cars. We could not function. It was just too much. So on the way to Vegas, I decided, you know what, I'm going to become a chaplain. I'm going to go look into that, see what that's about. And I started a healing journey. And like I said, that was like 14 years ago. And the whole time I was in chaplaincy, I said, I am not going to work in a hospital. I'm not going to do hospice. I don't want to do anything with death. I'm just not going to. And everyone kept saying, well, what are you going to do? I don't know. But I'm not doing hospice. I'm not going to do the hospital. I'm not doing any of that. So 12 years later, I've been in hospice. Yeah, and I have definitely a hospice heart that has developed over all these years. And I chaplain up at primaries. I'm going on 5 years there. And then I've been a chaplain at Common Spirit Hospital, so the Holy Cross, Mountain Point, Jordan Valley West, and Jordan Valley for the last 8 years. And it's been such a gift to me. So through that grief became one of the biggest gifts in my life. Can't even imagine what my life would be like without this. And it's so rewarding. And on the back of my car, it says the cheerful chaplain. But I'll tell you what, half the time I'm driving down the road just bawling. So people probably think I have some kind of emotional issues because I'm in the car. My car says cheerful chaplain, and I'm just crying because a lot of it has to do with sadness, but also gratitude. Just gratitude that I've been given this gift. And so one of the takeaways I had from this, when all that happened, I just wanted all that hurt to go away. I just thought, what can I do to make this go away? And all my healer friends came out of the woodwork. So I was doing journey work and spinning in chairs and doing sound healing and sand healing and just anything you could imagine I was trying to do. And it all helped me feel better, but it was like a Band-Aid. It just didn't last very long. And I thought, I just want this to go away. Finally, one of my mentors, Dave Blanchard, he's the CEO of Augmendino, he sat me down. And I wrote this down because I wanted just to get it word for word. So our character truly is forged in the furnace of adversity. We know what pain feels like. Through our experiences, we have been uniquely prepared to more effectively understand what another person is experiencing, which allows us to serve more effectively. When we take the clay we have been given and create the most we can with it while in the service of others, we finally find purpose in our suffering, joy in the journey, and much needed healing in our souls. So he said, you're going to take all this. And I remember saying to him, I have no heart left. Like, I feel like every time someone passed away, my heart was ripped out. Like a piece of my heart was gone. And I said, I don't have any heart left. I'm depleted. I don't have anything left. I don't have my home. I don't have my cars. My husband can't work. I just feel like I'm just depleted. And he said, you know what? he said, let's reframe that. He said, your heart has gotten bigger. He said, all those people that left, he said that they have left a piece of their heart in your heart, and your heart has gotten bigger. And when he said that to me, I just looked at him and I thought, you know what, I'm going to turn this into something different. I'm not going to live like this anymore. I'm going to do something that fills my soul and my spirit. And so when someone asks if you want to come speak, I'm like, okay. This is not my forte, but if someone asks me to come hold their hand while they're passing to the other side, yeah, that's where I want to be. And I don't even care about the money or anything. It's just, that's my passion, and I know that I've been called to do that. It's definitely a calling. And so it's been like just such a gift to me. So I figured by now, and I don't keep track by any means, but I've walked about 5,000 people home in the last 12 years. And it doesn't need applause. Thank you. But just to sit with someone in that space, in that sacredness. When I walk in the walls of the hospital, I was telling my friend the other day, I said, I feel a little trapped sometimes because I was such a free bird. And she said, you're not trapped, you're wrapped. And I really started thinking about that. And she said, you're wrapped in love. And I thought, you know what? I'm wrapped in that sacredness. I'm wrapped in that holiness. I'm wrapped in love. And I'm helping people wrap their presence and their lives and their chapters as they end it and put a bow on it. And I thought, and that's what I'm doing for myself. I'm putting my life, all my life experiences with all these people. And then in the end, I can put my bow on when it's time for me to go. Let's see. I do get really nervous, so I have to and then another thing, I went and learned Reiki, and I thought I was going to use it on all these people. I thought, I'm going to use Reiki. And I learned, I put my grief right here. I store it in my arm, and I have a little lump right there now. And I work on it, because when it starts getting bigger, I know that I put it there. But I love that I know that. I love that I know where I store that grief, and that I can help it reduce when it starts getting bigger. And so that was one of the other things that I learned, just to realize that those people left a piece of their heart with me, and to reframe. I'm always reframing. And then just, like Dr. Morgan said, just sitting with people, just being that listening presence, not being judgmental, just meeting them where they're at. As a chaplain, we go into that lake with them. Everyone's on the outside, throwing life preservers, wanting people to feel better. We just want you to feel better. And people don't want that right then. They do want that presence. They want someone to walk into the lake with them and go ahead, and if they're drowning, you drown too with them. And so I've learned a lot of techniques too, to how to bring myself back up and be cheerful. They call it state changes, and that was another thing. In the speaker world, you learn state changes. And so those state changes actually help me every day. I do state changes in the hospital too, and just always bringing my energy to where I need it, and bringing it back down to sacredness when I walk into a room with someone passing. So grief has really brought me one of the best gifts that I could have ever asked for, and I'm glad I answered that call 14 years ago. And thank you, Brandy, for all that you do, and just for bringing these people together. In the hospital, what you guys are talking about today, I get those families there that their loved one has completed suicide, and I'm there to help them navigate through those hard waters. And so thank you for what you're doing, and hopefully we can minimize that, and that we don't have as many coming into the hospitals like we do now. So thank you.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing. I'm Stacy Douglas. I'm with the Taylor Hagen Memorial Foundation, and I appreciate having this opportunity to be here to share what the Taylor Hagen Memorial Foundation is about and the resources and tools that we provide to the community. My family came together 9 years ago. Unfortunately, my nephew, Taylor Hagen, passed away from suicide. It disrupted our family like no other. I'd never experienced this kind of a loss. I knew that there was mental illness. I've heard other people struggle with it and go through it, but our family had not ever experienced it. And when my nephew passed away, it devastated all of us. We just had no idea that he was suffering. He was extremely successful in everything that he did in his life. He had a opportunity to go national in hockey, and he was just thriving in his life. And out of the blue, all of a sudden, we experienced this loss, and we did not know how to navigate through it. It was really tough, and at the time, there wasn't a lot of resources or tools around for us. In addition to that, talking about it was very taboo. Everyone was embarrassed about having a conversation about someone passing away from suicide or having mental illness or having any kind of depression. And I was raised that way. I was raised, you just don't really talk about your feelings, you know. Whatever you're going through, you're good. You can handle it, and you persevere through it. And it's a silent suffer, and I realized that. And in hindsight, when I looked at my nephew and I looked at the circumstances that he was going through, now I see the signs. Now I understand, and I'm more aware. It's unfortunate that we had to suffer a loss like this with my nephew, but it has changed our life, and it has put us in a capacity where we can now help others and be a resource and tool for others. And that is where we have made our commitment with the Taylor Hagen Memorial Foundation to do that. Unfortunately, there's so many people out there that are suffering in our communities, and people are not talking about things and talking about their feelings. And so when we talk about showing up for people and just coming and sitting with someone, that's real, that's raw. I always tell people we need to hold space for people. We need to open up and have conversations. When you're suffering, you need to talk about it. That's the thing, is people don't talk about what's going on in our lives. They're embarrassed. Or we've been told, you know, that what you're going through, that's nothing in comparison to what I've gone through in my life. We do that with our children. And my focus has really been a lot on bringing awareness to the community when it comes to our children and the parents. And the reason why is because I have children and my nephew, who I was very close with, and didn't realize how much he was suffering. And I wish I would have known. I wish I would have sat down with him and talked with him and asked him, you know, how are you doing? Not on a general sense, right? We all do that. Hey, how are you doing? But think about those words. Are we really asking to be intentional and to understand what's really going on in their life? Or are we just on a surface? And we need to show up differently for people. We need to be more intentional about how we do that. And that's why I'm here, to talk about the tools and resources that we have. And when I think about the children out there, a lot of them don't really even understand what they're going through and how they're feeling. You look at us as adults, right? How many of us, when we're struggling or going through something, do we reach out? We don't. We suffer. We're suffering silently. And so when we think about when we're troubled and we're going through something, it's hard for us to reach out and share that we're struggling and we're suffering. Especially, you know, you look at our tech world, right? Everyone is just go, 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 and we have to perform, and we have to perform in this capacity. And if we don't perform in this capacity, then we're failures, right? And that's wrong. We're not. That word failure is, I think, has gotten to be such a negative word, and it shouldn't be a negative word, especially when it comes to our children. Not everyone has to be a winner. Not everyone has to be perfect. Not everyone has to be feeling good. You know, it's okay to have a bad day, and I tell people that all the time. It's okay to not be okay, and talk about that. I know me personally, my dear friend Barbara and Peter, who have opened up this platform for me, and Brandy, thank you so much, is that I tell people that. I talk about my struggles. I talk about what's going on in my family, because when I do, I know that someone else is maybe going through something, or they know someone that my story, that me talking with them about it might help them feel better about opening up and sharing their story. I know when we talk about suicide, it's so taboo. The word is, everyone thinks of it so negatively. And it's so sad that we have to get to that point, to that. So let's open up and be more intentional with the people and the relationships we're having. Make the connection on a different level. Be deeper. Share when you're going through something, because that neighbor next to you might be going through the same thing but didn't realize that they had a platform or a place to be able to feel safe that they could talk about it. With the Taylor Hagen Memorial Foundation, we have a few different things that we do with that. We raise money every year. We have a gala that we put on. We just had our gala on November 8th. It was extremely successful, and I'm so grateful for all the people that were able to come and support us. We raised over $367,000, and I have to tell you, it gives me the chills to think about this, because we're helping so many lives with the money that we're raising. We have a bereaved mothers retreat that we do about 3 or 4 times a year, where we are able to help mothers that have had a loss, whether it's from suicide, for any reason, that needs to learn how to do some self-care, how to get themselves up and out of bed and living this new journey that they're on in this new life. We provide a lot of resources and therapy and help for the mothers. In addition to that, we do hope baskets. For anyone that has lost a loved one, we send hope baskets out and resources within this hope basket that they know and understand that there are people out there to help them. And resources for therapy. Therapy is a huge thing. I don't know about you guys, but when I lost my nephew, there wasn't a lot of resources for therapy, and it was so expensive. And people don't have the options to that, so we help fund that. It's very important to us that people get the tools and the resources that they need, and so therapy is very important. We are partnered with Stand for Kind, which I absolutely love, Pam. I love what she's doing. It is absolutely incredible. We are funding some camps for these kids to give them support. We also offer therapy and support through Flourish. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's the LGBTQ community. There's a lot of suffering in that arena as well. But in our children, in our schools, and in our community, there's just so much that is going on, and so we're just here as a tool or resource for you. Please reach out to us if there's anything that we can do for you. We certainly want you to know that we're here. We're happy to partner with any other tools and resources that we can do, so that we can make connections with everyone. We don't always have those tools or resources, so it's important for us to know and align with people that we can refer people to. And so if you have not visited our website and you're not familiar with our foundation, please make yourself aware of it. And for all of these other people up here in their foundations, it's important to know that there are people out there that are here to help, and to help you and to help your loved ones. We need to come together as a community, because as a community we are suffering. So please open up your hearts, open up your minds and your spirit, and be there for someone, and just hold space. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share my story. Thank you.
I am going to remain seated because I think I have a sinus infection and I've been dizzy for a couple of days, and I don't want to be the first Irish person to fall off the stage, because if I do, I know it's not going to be blamed on dizziness. I'm from Belfast, Northern Ireland. I've been in the United States most of my adult life, and because I am a few decades older than everybody else on the stage, I have to have notes. This is what happens when you reach your 70s.
Can you guys hear in the back?
Can you hear me okay?
You gotta keep it pretty close, May.
Okay. The most important thing I just said was I'm Irish. Okay, by a show of hands, who today has ever had a pimple? Who has, seriously? Now I know you have pores. People don't have their hands up. I know you're lying. I know you're lying. Who has popped a pimple on somebody else's back? Come on, be truthful. This is a place where there's safety and you can feel comfortable sharing. This is a universal behavior. Very few of us are going to get through life without getting a pimple or having to pop a pimple.
Who knew? We're all in it together.
But it's much like death. Why is it like death? Because death, losing someone close to us, is something that we all experience. It's a universal experience. It's life. Pimples and death. It's about life. Everything from first world problems like acne all the way to losing a loved one. They're on other extreme sides of the spectrum, but very few of us will get to the end of our own lives without losing someone that we love. So, you know, we started with a very comfortable topic, popping pimples, and now we're going to move on to my life experience. Suicide. Did you hear that? Suicide. Did we hear it that time? What's that word? Suicide. Thank you. There's a stigma in our communities about suicide, about mental health issues. Okay, now I want you to take a big deep breath, unclench your jaw. You don't have to talk about all your horrible pimple popping stories. You know, unclasp your, if you've gripped your fingers, because sometimes the minute that suicide comes up, we clench our jaws. We stop breathing, so relax. Okay, I want you to look at me. I want you all to see this face. Because I am a suicide loss survivor. My daughter died by suicide. I was left behind to make sense of a traumatic, tragic and very untimely death. So suicide is a very significant global health issue right now. You know, the World Health Organization tells us that almost 1 million people a year die by suicide in the world. I mean, it's like once every 40 seconds in the world, or something like that. The impact of those bereaved by suicide extends far beyond the core family and close members of the family. It actually extends out to the greater community. There's statistics that have been repeated in the research over and over again that for every one suicide death, 145 people are left behind to make sense of that death. Now, the family is the core group, and extended family and neighbors and school chums, and you know, the neighborhood and the workforce, and you know, that goes out. But 145 people are left behind to make sense of that death. And compared with other kinds of bereavement, people that are bereaved by suicide are at an increased risk of experiencing lots of problems. Mental health issues like depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder if you found your loved one, because some of these deaths are very violent. Self-harm, alcohol use, relationship problems, and here's the kicker. We are now at higher risk of dying by suicide. That risk declines and decreases as time goes on if we manage and navigate our grief properly, or wellly, as people say now. So the experience of suicide has tremendous impact on people. It causes physical ailments. We have people dying of heart attacks. Everything that everybody has said here today, there's been so many comments from these three beautiful women that could have started the discussion if we were just sitting around a coffee table together. Because we all have experience, and I thought, oh, I need to talk to Brandy about that. I need to talk to you about that. I would like to talk to you about that, because we share these experiences, and because of our lived experience, we are somewhere that we can give authentic support to, because we have lived experience. But knowing that there are many people that are dealing with a violent or traumatic loss, how do we support them? How do we improve the outcomes for their families, for the friends, neighbors, co-workers? How do we help people navigate and find hope and healing? I mean, even in grief literature, only 5% of grief literature is about suicide. And there are a lot of suicides in this country, and very, very few resources for the people that are left behind to navigate the grief. When I lost my daughter, my husband and I had to move to Washington, just outside of Washington, D.C. He's a lawyer. He had a contract with the Department of Defense, and I moved away from my children, my grandchildren, my friends, my therapist. We speak of, therapy. Everybody that was supporting me through this worst thing that could ever happen to a mother in her whole life, lose a child. But I eventually found a resource in the basement of the Grace Baptist Church. There was a support group for people who had lost a loved one to suicide. And I went to that and was able to walk into a room full of strangers and share the worst thing that had ever happened to me and cry with them and learn how people are non-judgmental, how people support each other, and would come out of the basement of the Grace Baptist Church with the Marines that were in the next room to us. They all had PTSD, so there was a lot of tears in the basement of the Grace Baptist Church. So talking to our family, we decided that we wanted to support other people that were going through this. We couldn't stand the thought of mothers waking up in the middle of the night and, the years that it would take to navigate the grief, to learn the coping mechanisms, to understand, to answer the questions. We decided to create a nonprofit. I know your family's been through this, and we created a nonprofit, L.O.S, Loved Ones Suicide Survivors, and its sole intent was to provide free, peer-led support groups for anyone who had lost a loved one to suicide. We started with one group in Intermountain Medical Center in Murray, and now we are in 4 hospitals across the state from Logan to St. George.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's a lot of research recently. I'll try to wind this up quickly. There's a lot of research, growing recognition about the power of peer support within all aspects of health. My friend Jan is a member of an online cancer support group. But in mental health, they're very, very efficacious. One of the reasons is because as an advocate, we've had the lived experience, and we feel that we're in a good place to, offer that authentic empathy, validation, understanding, and attending peer support groups increases people's sense of connectedness, self-worth, and provides enhanced coping and problem-solving strategies. As I spoke to you today, I had a video, and I was hoping it would show, but we don't have video capability. But it was to show you the faces of the loved ones that we have lost. I wanted you to see these were real people, and that they had their lives shortened, because 93% of people who die by suicide have a diagnosable mental illness at the time of their death. And I wanted you to see Ryan Kelly, whose parents are here today. He was a nurse. I wanted you to see my daughter Talise, who is a mom and a business owner. I wanted you to see Michael Johnson's fiance, who killed her 2 children and then took her own life. I wanted you to see Angie and Tom Weber's 2 boys who died by suicide 1 year apart. And I wanted you to see Bill Carroll's wife, Ardell, who died after a long struggle with alcoholism. these are real people, these are real lives, and these are real families that are left behind, and they are at high risk for negative outcomes. We're the only community of grievers that are at high risk for negative outcomes, and the worst negative outcome we're at high risk for is suicide. I want to leave you with this. I have learned that having specific peer support for people who are bereaved by suicide is also important because our societies lack grief literacy when it comes to suicide. I appreciate your time and attention. I think we should all sit down around a table. We have so much in common, and I think it takes all of us. It takes all of us to bring what our communities need to help them survive and thrive in the era of such horrific suicide statistics. Thank you all. I love you all for being so patient with me.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you to our speakers. I had just a few thoughts as she was going through that. So grief and loss, we're all going to go through it. It presents to all of us. I thought it was taxes and death. Apparently it's acne and death. We can change that in our circles. But you know, one of the biggest things that everybody talks about is feeling alone. And one of the things that we've shared with Promise to Live is the ASK acronym. And this is very much aligned with grief and loss. I see so many beautiful faces in here of people I know who've been through a lot and who've lost. And it's hard sometimes to talk about it. It's hard to know. So the first one with ASK is this. If you're struggling, ask for help. If you see that somebody else might be struggling, ask. It means acknowledge, support, keep in touch. It could be, hey, I know you just went through a divorce. How are you holding up? I know you lost your job. How are you doing? I know your parents died. Right, whatever it is, we address it. We acknowledge it. We say, we know that you're going through this. How are you? Acknowledge, A. S, support. Well, that must be really hard. I'm so sorry. I'm here if you need me. Because we're afraid to ask the questions because we think we have to be the expert. You do not. It's sitting with them. It's being there. It's listening. It's just compassion and empathy. Support. That must be really hard. K, keep in touch. Will you call me tonight when you get home? Can we go to lunch tomorrow? Can you go for a walk next week? It's simple. It's giving them something else to check in and to keep in touch. So will you guys make a deal that you will ask? Can you guys all ask? Okay, and then the second thing briefly before we wrap is, how you doing? I've said this before. Some of you guys know the magic word. If I want to find out how you're really doing, what do I need to say? How are you really doing? How are you really? It's one word. It changes everything. I promise you that. Practice it today. When you go to the clerk, when you check out at fast food or Maverick, whatever you're doing, when you bank at Mountain America and you talk to your clerk, which you should, by the way, we love Mountain America. Thank you for that, by the way, Charlene. Thank you so much. But when you go there, look the person in the eye and say, how are you really doing today? Or how are you today really? Can you guys try that? Because that one word gives people the permission to share. Most of the time, we don't think people care. So do those two things. You don't have to be an expert, whether it's grief, loss, whatever it is that anyone's dealing with. Ask. Acknowledge, support, keep in touch. Ask them how they're really doing. This is critical stuff. Thank you, guys. There's great resources. And at Promise to Live, we're redoing our website right now. It's almost ready for launch. We're putting our partners and our resources on there. One of the problems I found when I was in the hospital for 2 days, not knowing where to go or what to do if my child survived, I needed resources, and I needed them in one place. And we waited 3 months for her appointment. She tried to end her life 5 days before. We bridged the gap. AI, online, self-guided, resources you can find, tools you can find. We're partnering with incredible groups. If you have tools and resources and you're doing this stuff, we need you. There's no competition in saving our loved ones or ourselves. The rising tide lifts all of us, and we need you now more than ever. So whatever that looks like for you, can you guys please join us, and can you make a commitment today that you will ask about others? And check in for yourself. So the last things I want to leave you with, thank you again for coming. Our next one is December 11th. Put it on your calendar. December 11th is our holiday party and self-care. Ugly sweaters, bring it. We're going to have food. I'm going to cook for you. It's my treat to you. It's my Christmas gift to you guys. I would love to make you lunch. So if you want to come and join us, Adam and I will be up all night cooking for you. I'm going to find my ugliest sweater. Yes, if anybody wants to potluck and bring some things, absolutely reach out to us. This is going to be a fun holiday party. We're going to have a sing-along. We're going to have sweaters. We're going to have some self-care, some breathing exercises and whatnot. Mark your calendar. December 11th. We're doing it the second Thursday because of Christmas. So everything else is then. But let me tell you guys about a few things while you have your pens out, okay? December 2nd is Giving Tuesday. We're launching our 50,000 hugs for the holidays. So if you guys want to get involved in our 50,000 hugs for the holidays, this is where we raise money, we get our hugs, we go to senior centers, we go to first responders, firehouses, police stations, schools, we write letters, and we go hug these people. We get them to make a promise to live. We give them their coin to keep and their coin to give, and we want to give out 50,000 before the end of the year. So a good way to get involved, if you guys want to sponsor, if your company wants to sponsor, if you just want to, if you don't have money, we understand that too. Write some letters and get out with us. We're going to be partnering up with Stand for Kind, handing out pies to our first responders and coins. So we're always looking for that stuff. Please support us on Giving Tuesday. Share on social media. Tag us. This is little things that you guys can do. Now, some very exciting things I mentioned briefly. We are doing some really cool things next year. I cannot wait. How about Unplug and Hug? How does that sound to you guys? Yeah, do we know where we're going with this? Unplug and Hug? The 10th of every month, we invite you guys to unplug your phones, get off the computer, get off the internet, and go connect in real time. Go give out hugs, go connect with your community, and each month has a theme. It might be mothers, it might be our firefighters, it might be, we've got a list. So every 10th of the month, you can join Promise to Live in your community, in your event, in your circles, and unplug and hug. We're going to be doing our town halls every third Thursday. Mark your calendar, except for December's the 2nd. We're opening 25 new chapters around the world and country. We have one going in Israel. We have one that already opened in L.A. Our goal this year, imagine 25 chapters of Promise to Live. How much good can we do? Right? So we need your support. And if you guys want to get involved and you got people, other places, you want to volunteer with us, we've been expanding our board. We've been expanding our volunteers. We'd love that. Our Million Hugs for Hope. We have an audacious goal. September 10th. We want to do 1 million hugs around the world. We want to team up with churches, schools, businesses, have hug hubs. Maybe we get places like Verizon or Mountain America, Hint, and these people become hubs. And we say, join us September 10th for World Suicide Prevention Day. Pop in, get your hug, sign our banner, make the promise to live. And then we have our big show in Hollywood. Who's been to our big show in Hollywood? Woo woo! We do that September 10th in LA, and we're going to cap that night in LA as we have all of these people from around the world making a difference. Imagine how many lives we can save by getting people to know that they're loved, that they matter, that they have tools and resources, connecting them to them, building our community and getting that commitment. So we need your help with that. And our gala, May 30th, mark that on your calendar as well. That's our big event. So before we wrap up, I want to invite my friend, Bill Schuffenhauer, 3-time world Olympian, amazing. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. I think I screwed it up somehow, but Bill, right after, we've partnered, we love Third Thursday, and Ray just moved to Taiwan, and his mom's here, and we love them, and we love what they're doing. But if you guys want to stay seated, we can shoot the bull, we can have a good time, and tell them what's happening at 3, my buddy. And by the way, can I share this?
Absolutely.
This guy hasn't had an easy life. He's experienced a lot of grief and loss, and there were times when you tried to end it too.
Yeah.
Do you want to share just
Yeah,
a minute?
I'm happy to.
And I mean, we only have a few minutes. I want to be respectful of everyone's time, but can you just sum up real quick? One, stick around for Third Thursday, and two, your story. Why
Okay.
it's important.
Yeah, I'd love to have everyone stick around for Third Thursday. I have the opportunity for attempting to fill in for Ray today, and we also have a special message for all of you that do stick around. So excited to stick around for that. And thanks, Brandy, for the opportunity to come up here amongst all these amazing people. A lot of you know me as Bill Schiffenhauer, the three-time Olympian, Olympic silver medalist, right? Great career, overcame adversity through my childhood, here in Salt Lake City, growing up on the streets, born to one of the most well-known street moms in Utah's history, 17 different foster homes. I was set up as a child to fail, right? And at some point in time, I changed my mind, and I chose that I wanted to not be a statistic in life and found a passion in sports. Then I found a passion in education. And that took me all the way up to the Olympic Games here in Salt Lake City, the same place I grew up. I was able to win an Olympic silver medal for Team USA. Thanks. But a lot of you probably hear some of the stories, and I had an opportunity to talk to somebody who could really relate, is that I spent so many years of my life traveling the world, winning medals, White House visits, this and that. I became an identity of Bill Schiffenhauer, the Olympian. But what happens when that all comes to an end? Tell you what happens. You get lost. You isolate. You victim mentality. It's everyone else's fault. And from 2010 until 2018, I was probably the worst in my own victim mentality. I had created a world of chaos for myself, which eventually in 2016, when I was a director of development for Ballet West, I did my very best to take my own life. It had all come to the top, and I just couldn't handle anymore, and I gave up on myself. And I can't tell you how important the words are when Brandy and everyone up here is talking about, if you know somebody needs help, ask if they need help. Really ask, because no one ever asked me, hey, Billy, do you need help? Because everyone thought I was Bill Schiffenhauer, the Olympian. I was strong, I was tough, right? But when all that came crashing, I didn't know where to turn. So I turned to like exiting myself out of this life. And so I encourage all of you, whatever you do, don't wait until it's too late. You have an opportunity to like change not only someone else's lives, but also change your own life. I've had several friends and teammates that have committed suicide and were successful at it. The Speedy Foundation, one of my best friends and Olympic teammates, aerial skier, took his life. I didn't know anything was wrong with him. I lived with the guy. But sometimes we are really good at hiding the pain that we deal with day in and day out. So don't wait. It's not that hard to say, Brandy, how are you doing? No, seriously, how are you doing?
Great.
Right? I am fortunately really good at reading people when I ask them that question nowadays. So if I don't get the energy back that I want from Brandy, I might say, hey, you want to go grab some lunch? Right? It is nothing to take time out of my day in the world of chaos I created with tech companies and business and family and all that stuff to take 30 minutes, 10 minutes to come and help somebody, whether she's a best friend of mine or not. So don't wait until it's too late. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Awesome guy. So Ride at 3, we love partnering with them. We're all about, collaborating. If you have questions, please come see us. If you're interested in joining us, can my board members raise your hand? So here's my team. If you guys have questions, reach out to these people. If you want to join us, reach out. Find us online. I love you. Yeah, absolutely. May Bradley board members.
Can my board members raise their hands, please? Tom, my husband. Oh, I have some board members back here. If anybody has had a suicide loss in the last decade or so and has unresolved grief, we have board members here. Everybody got a postcard with locations for the support groups. We have a QR code on there that'll take you to our website, L.O.S.S.care. Thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you guys so much for coming. Appreciate you. Love you.